You know that feeling when you're just doing the work instead of actually designing it? Well, we're about to look at how you can flip that script and really take control of your digital workday.
So be honest. Does your workday sometimes feel like this? You're just drowning in a constant flood of notifications, reports, and requests. It's that feeling of being swamped by all the digital paperwork, all those little things that get in the way of the work you actually want to be doing.
I mean, you know the drill, right? You're manually copying data, taking info from an email, and just plugging it into a spreadsheet. It's so tedious, it's time-consuming. And let's be real, it's literally work a robot should be doing.
Or, hey, what about this? Chasing approvals. You send a document off, and then you spend the next week just chasing it down with follow-up emails. It's like a communication black hole, isn't it? And then there's this, archiving attachments, that endless digital filing. Every single day, you're downloading, renaming, saving attachments. Each one of these tasks is like a tiny, separate piece of a puzzle. And right now, we're the ones stuck putting it all together by hand. But what if you could automate all those robotic parts of your job? I mean, what if there was a better way? What if you could build a system to handle all that busy work so you could finally focus on what truly matters?
Well, you can. This is where we introduce Microsoft Power Automate. It's a tool that's specifically designed to let you build workflows that handle all those repetitive tasks automatically.
So, Power Automate is what we call a low-code/no-code tool, which is just a fancy way of saying you don't need to be a programmer to use it at all. Instead of writing lines of code, you're building these incredible automated solutions just by choosing from menus and filling in some blanks. It's a total game changer. So with this tool, you build these automated processes that are called flows. Honestly, the best way to think of a flow is like a simple digital recipe. You're the chef, and you're just telling it what to do to handle your repetitive tasks, all on its own. Okay, so how does it actually work? How do you build one of these flows? Now, I know it might sound complicated, but I promise you the logic behind it is surprisingly simple. Let's break down the anatomy of a flow. It really just comes down to three basic parts. You've got the trigger, the action, and the connector. All you're doing is telling the system, if this one thing happens, then do this other thing. And you do that by using a special bridge that connects all your different apps together.
All right, first up is the trigger. Think of this as the starting pistol for your automation. It's the event that kicks everything off. So it could be something like receiving a new email, or maybe a new file gets added to a folder, or someone submits a form. This is the if this happens part of our little recipe.
So if the trigger is the cause, then the action is the effect. It's what you actually want to happen next. This is the then do this part. So using our example, if the trigger is that new email arriving, the action could be to automatically save its attachment right into a specific OneDrive folder. Simple as that.
And what makes all of this possible? How do these different apps talk to each other? Well, that's the connector. This is the real magic ingredient. It's the bridge that allows different apps and services to talk to each other. We're talking Outlook, SharePoint, Google Drive, Salesforce, you name it. The connector is what links the trigger that happens in one app to the action you want to happen in a totally different one.
Now, this kind of technology introduces a really powerful idea, and it's called the citizen developer. And you know who that is? That's you. You're the expert on your own work. You know the problems inside and out, which makes you the absolute perfect person to build the solution. And look, this isn't just some made-up buzzword. This is a real thing. The research firm Gartner actually defines a citizen developer as an employee who creates application capabilities for consumption by themselves or others. Basically, they're the experts on the ground, solving their own problems. So let's make the distinction really clear. On one hand, you have a professional developer. They're trained in IT, they use complex code like C# or JavaScript, and they build these huge enterprise-level applications. But on the other hand, you have the citizen developer. You're the business expert in your department. You use these simple low-code/no-code tools to solve your own team's problems. See, your superpower isn't coding. It's that you know the business process better than anyone. And that's really what it all comes down to. You don't need to be a coder. What you need is to understand the problem you're trying to solve. And guess what? You already do. You know all the pain points in your workflow. Now, you just have a tool that lets you design the solution yourself without having to write a single line of code. All right, so what can you actually build with this? Now that you have this power, what can you do with it? This is where it gets really, really exciting. Because the possibilities, they're pretty much endless. Get this.
Power Automate has more than 600 connectors. That's over 600 different apps and services that you can weave together into your workflows. We're talking about connecting everything from SharePoint and all the Microsoft stuff to Google Sheets, Twitter, Salesforce, the list just goes on and on.
So, what does that actually mean for you day to day? It means you can do things like automatically transfer form responses into a neat list. You can manage document approvals without all the chasing. You can send out automatic reminders. You can archive all those emails and attachments without lifting a finger. Remember all those annoying problems we talked about at the start? Well, they just became your first automation projects.
And this is the payoff. When you start connecting all those fragmented manual tasks with automation, you create a complete functioning system. Suddenly, you're not just doing the work anymore, you're stepping back and getting to design the process. You're the architect of a smarter way to work.
So that just leaves one final question. I want you to really think about your own workday. Think about all those repetitive clicks, all that manual data entry. What's one task, just one, that you would love to automate tomorrow?